You can have zero art skills and not use any gels and still get some really cute nail designs with dip powders. What's up, nail crew? It's Nicole, your fellow nail obsessed DIYer. Today we are going to do some reverse stamping. I've been asked a bunch of times, can you go over some really simple reverse stamping? And absolutely. I love a simple reverse stamp when I just want to add a little pop to my dip manicure. So I'm going to teach you how today after I talk about dipping on short nails. I know a lot of people have said like, "Hey, we keep I keep my nails really short. Like it's hard when, we see videos with long nails and they can do all these designs. Short nails can do so many designs." So yeah, you're working with less what I like to call nail real estate, so you don't have as much room on your nail, but there are still so many things you can do. So I'm doing a fall mani. I am so ready for the fall colors now. I'm actually ready for fall weather now that school started back up. And I'm doing these beautiful colors from OG Dip Powder. They're called I'm Not A Snitcher, and I tell it like it is, both from a Brady Bunch inspired collection. So I started off with this gorgeous shimmery orange, and I knew that would be a great base for some autumn looking fall leaves. I test a lot of different plates. Like off Amazon, I like to try different cheap plates, typically there, and because I've stopped buying off Shein and Temu and those sites. So what I like to do is try different ones I can find on Amazon, but I always stick with my nicer quality stamping polishes. I've noticed that, even when you buy cheap plates, like not all the images will pick up, but you'll get some too. And if you use nice quality polishes, that's going to make such a big difference. Let's jump into some tips on how you dip short nails. One thing that you definitely want to make sure that you do is start with a small amount of dip base on your brush. You don't want to use so much dip base on your brush that you're flooding into your cuticles and sidewalls right off the bat. Then that's going to be frustrating because that's going to be more cleanup that you're going to have to do. Sometimes I get a little bit in my sidewalls or my cuticle, and I just take an orange wood stick or a pointy nail tool and go around it quickly after the dips that go back to the back of my cuticle. Now, if you have really short nails, you don't have to build an apex. You can, if you want, with like maybe 1 to 2 layers of clear dip powder, or you can just do one layer of clear dip powder. Whenever I'm dipping a color on my nails, and when I was dipping like straight on my nails, now I have a thin layer of builder gel down. But before I did that, I like to use clear as my base because I noticed one, if you're soaking off, the dip mani comes off easier if there's clear first. And two, if you need to build just a little apex, clear builds it really nicely without the colors getting super thick. So I always like to go in with my solids and shimmers first because I am a messy dipper. And this way, if any of my glitter gets anywhere, I'm not getting it into my solid and shimmer because I go through, I do clear as the last layer, and then I even activate it as well just to make sure that like those colors are sealed in. You totally can use glitters on short nails. I've actually seen a lot of people say that in Facebook groups like, "Oh, I can't wear glitters. My nails are too short." I totally disagree. I feel like when you wear glitters on short nails, they look super cute. So if you really don't like how glitters look on your short nails, instead of trying chunky glitters, you can try like a medium chunk or a small chunk or a fine glitter. These are smaller glitters. They're absolutely beautiful. They laid so well. And if you really like, you don't like the chunky glitters, these are a great option to do just a smaller glitter instead, because even on short nails, they look fantastic. Whenever I dip glitters, and especially on short nails because you're working with a, like I said, smaller area of nail real estate, I really shake up the dip cup. Like I'm using these little dip cups from SJ3 Designs, and I pour my glitter in and then shake it up really well to make sure all the pieces of the glitter that I want come up to the top before I lay my nail in. And it's not so much on the first layer that I'm concerned about that, but on the second layer, no matter what kind of glitter I'm using, I really make sure that I shake those powders up. I tap the dip cup on like the little table I use to do my nails so that all those glitters that are heavier, they come up to the top. And using a piece of tape on one of the fingers of your opposite hand really helps to be able to press down the glitters without anything getting stuck on your skin. So if you have really sensitive skin and you don't want anything on it, then that definitely is especially going to be helpful for you because you can, technically you could develop an allergy to pretty much anything. So for me, I don't want to get any contact dermatitis or allergies. I mean, typically allergies are associated with gels, but I'm trying to keep all of the nail products off my skin as best I can. So that little piece of tape is really helpful, and you can press down the glitters so that they lay really nice and flat. Once you do your glitter, make sure that you do clear as your last layer if you're using dip liquids, and pour the clear over until it's really soaked into the glitter. This way, when you buff and file and shape, you're not going to mess up any of your beautiful glitter that you just did. And I actually do this with the clear, whether I'm doing solid shimmers, flakes, foils, glitters, whatever. If I'm using dip liquids, clear is going to be my last layer. Make sure after you apply your clear that you brush it off really well with a stiff nail brush, and then you can activate them. And then once they harden, you'll know that they're ready to file, buff, and shape. If you tap on them, they make like a hard tapping noise and they won't feel soft. So I'm just leaving a little bit of my filing and buffing in here. I don't have to do much, especially when my nails are short. Plus, if you use, high quality liquids and powders, you definitely shouldn't have to do much filing or buffing. Okay, now we are jumping into what I am so excited for, to talk about reverse stamping. Reverse stamping sounds a lot harder than it is, but it's actually, for me, the easiest part of stamping. The main part of reverse stamping that you have to get down is picking up the initial image. When I was first trying to pick up one of the leaves, I thought I wasn't picking up the whole thing. And then I looked at the image, and part of the leaf, like it wasn't like, it was how the leaf was designed, that it didn't have like all the little stem pieces in it. So I looked around and I'm like, okay, let me try another one. I like to clean off anything else that I don't want on the stamp. So whatever is on the stamp is what's going to go onto your nail. And even in reverse stamping too, so using some tape, you just kind of like pick up the little bit of stamping polish, whatever's around your image. And to get your image to pick up, here are some tips. You only want to put enough stamping polish to cover the entire image. You don't want to flood the plate with polish, or else it's going to be harder to pick up your stamp. You want to scrape firmly and quickly at like a 45-degree angle down the plate or sideways across the plate. And then whatever direction that you scraped in, you want to roll your stamper in the opposite direction. So if you scrape down, you roll your stamper over the image up. For reverse stamping, you have to let your image that's on the jelly stamper totally dry before you go and basically color it in. That's all that reverse stamping is. It's coloring in. So that's part of why I like it so much, that I don't have to like try to line up stamps correctly. I don't try to have to do anything else. But reverse stamping is just, once your image is on the jelly stamper, then you just have to let it dry, and then you go and you color in. Now, for me, getting the image to pick up was the hardest part. So if you don't get it on the first try or the second, it's okay. Like, you don't have to panic. You just clean your plate up with some pure acetone on a cotton ball or some kind of cotton round, and then you try again. And that's what I love about stamping so much, more than just drawing something on my nail, is because if you mess up, just don't put the stamp on your nail. Okay, that's it. That is the one of like the biggest things that I did not realize when I first started stamping, is like, I was trying to rush through everything. Yes, you have to like scrape the polish down quickly along on the image, and you have to roll the stamper quickly. But if your image is messed up, no big deal. You can just take it off with some tape, like I was taking off the tape around my image, or you can just use some kind of like lint roller and just roll your stamper on there. Part of what's so nice about the reverse stamping is you're just coloring in, and you can use a variety of tools to do that coloring in. I used to use toothpicks because I don't have a steady hand. So I know a lot of people like to use the little dotting tools. My hands are not steady enough to do that. So I either use toothpicks, and then recently I picked up a pack of like super, super thin nail art brushes and have been using that, and it has been so nice. Definitely make sure that you're using stamping polishes too when you're doing stamping. A lot of people ask me like, can I just use nail polish? And I personally have found that nail polish just does not work as well. The stamping polishes are thinner consistency, and they're typically more opaque, so they're made to be stamped. And especially like when you're coloring in and stuff, you don't want to spend a ton of time coloring something in for it not to show up. Everything that I use for my mayonnaise in the videos, I always put in the description. So if I forget to say a color I used or something, just check in the description and it will show you. Once your stamped image is fully colored in and it is totally dry, then you can go and actually apply it. So you have to have your stamped image be totally dry before you go and try to put it onto your nail. And for reverse stamping, you are going to need some kind of like sticky base. I'm using Maniology sticky base. I apply it to most of my nail, particularly the area that I want it to be on, the stamp to be on. And then you want to wait until the sticky base is sticky instead of like super wet. So you want it to be tacky. You don't want it to be dry and you don't want it to be super wet. You want it like, that's why I kept trying to like touch a little bit on my nail just to see once it feels tacky, then you can press it down. And I like to kind of rock my stamped image back and forth to make sure that every part of it gets picked up onto my nail before I go and lift up the jelly stamper. If you lift up the jelly stamper before your stamped image gets a chance to, stick all the way down, then you're going to end up with part of your image that you worked so hard to reverse stamp. It's going to be still stuck on the stamper. So definitely don't do that. I've done that before, especially when I was first starting. Then you want to go over your entire nail with a smudge-free top coat. That's going to seal in your stamped image. And this is one of my favorite parts about the doing stamping with dip nails is that if you use a smudge-free top coat over the stamped image, you can use dip liquids to finish top coating. So the caveat is that you have to let your smudge-free top coat fully dry, like at least 5 minutes, preferably 10. It cannot be remotely tacky to touch before you go and do your dip top coating. And you do your dip top coating how you would with your dip liquids. So you do activator and then you do your 2 layers of top coat. Now, whatever dip liquids you're using, make sure you follow their instructions. I'm using OG Dip Powders dip liquids. They are amazing. And I do follow their instructions for how to do the top coating, whether I'm just doing it with or without stamping. One thing I will say is make sure that you float your activator over your nails and both layers of your top coat. Now that we just did this really fun reverse stamp, come join me for more stamping fun and I will teach you another new technique. Thanks for joining me today, Nail Crew.